Hello, my close crew. I just want to thank you for taking time to spend with me to really invest in your business and give yourself a huge pat on the back because those of us that want to achieve even higher levels of success, we take the time to invest in our businesses. And folks, great training doesn't come cheap. So again, give yourselves a pat on the back and say, yay, you have risen above the average agent and you are investing in yourself. What are we going to talk about today? You have now gotten to module 1 of our boot camp on generating leads for your business. So we're going to be talking about growing your database 101, how to build your pipeline. And I really went, when this whole thing was inspired, it was really because I'm starting a new team myself right here in Atlanta in the burbs that I don't know. And whenever I was thinking about training, I'm like, what do we do whenever we start our business? What do we do to build a database if we don't have the financial means to be able to throw money at leads and just pay a bunch of money and just get business, right? Well, I really thought about everything that I have done since the day that I started my real estate career back in 2005. I started my career and I was in an area that I didn't really know anybody. It wasn't my hometown. I didn't really have a big sphere. And luckily, I was in the neighborhood that everybody was on the 5-year plan. So we were all kind of bailing out. I just got lucky. I was at the right place at the right time. Luck only gets you so far with real estate, right? And sometimes you can be in the business the first year and make bank, and then the next year, like, oh my God, or maybe even 2 years, and then you've just cleaned up your whole sphere, and now you got nothing to go by, right? So I really thought, okay, how are people going to most benefit from growing your database, and what does it look like? So we're going to be talking about a myriad of a bunch of things. So I'm just going to quick share my screen here. And yes, grow your database 101. But what we're going to be covering today is just being on purpose. What does that mean? Well, being on purpose means we have intention. We got our real estate license, we started a business, and we want people to work with. We have homes that we need to sell. We have buyers that need to buy. Our job is to let them know that we're open for business, right? So the second thing we're going to be talking about is building your database and making it easy. How exciting does that sound, right? Just making your database easy. Asking the right questions. I had a great coach one time and she said, Bev, the whole thing is about being a great question asker. And I'm like, huh? I had no idea what she was talking about. And through the years, I've really learned what that means. Folks, I have been focusing on internet lead conversion since 2007, 2008. And man, I royally did not do it right out of the gate. I had to learn the hard way. And yes, it was hard for me to call leads and it was hard for me to talk to people. My palms were sweating. It just wasn't fun. I hated it. I dreaded it. But I was more worried about not having deals and not having success than I was about picking up the phone. So I had to make myself enjoy it and learn the process. And I really quickly learned that I didn't want to be like everybody else. I wanted to do things differently. And that meant having different conversations. And we're going to be talking about that as well. So your next deal is right in front of you. We just have to learn what? How to ask the right questions. Yes. All right. So this is something that you may not have really actually thought about consciously, but when you go to have a conversation with somebody, or you're going on a listing appointment, or you're going to work with a buyer and it's time to ask them to, hey, are you in my contract on this? Do you like this? we have this voice in the back of our head that's like, don't ask, or, well, you don't know the market well enough, or, gosh, they're going to be so mad at you if you call and interrupt their dinner, right? We have all these reasons on why we shouldn't be doing what we know that we need to do. The only reason that that gets in our way is the confidence. And and I can say this 100%, I've been there. Heck, I'm still there. I'm still learning and growing. And why do you think, look back to when you were in high school and look at what's happened to the people that you spend your majority of time with. Now, we may still have friends from high school, depending on what your age is, depending on where you're at in your life, depending if you moved away or stayed in town. But for the most part, we usually outgrow the people that we were around that were very integral to part of our lives. While we're going through that process, that's where we are, right? We attract the people that we are the most like. And we're the average of the five most people that we're around. Thinking about that and looking at your trend of how we change influences in just in our walk, in our growth, in life. Well, what ends up happening is we end up, I guess, changing the game just a little bit because we're growing, we're learning, we're becoming more confident about who we are. And sometimes people don't grow with us. So I say that because our business is the exact same way. It's never going to change. There's always going to be something new to learn. So the question I have to ask you, this just came up weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, this is so jacked up in real estate. When doctors and nurses are going to school and they're really going to be faced with people's lives, right? Prescriptions, surgery, making huge decisions for a person. They don't just go, okay, I'm just going to go get a I'm just going to go get a customer, a patient, and see what happens. No, they go through how many years of school, and they go through how many, us just talk about a surgeon for a second. They're talking about how to go through surgery via video, via writing, via textbook learning, and then they actually work on like dead people, right? They like when you donate your body for science, that's kind of what you donate it for these people to what? Hone in on their craft. Would you want a surgeon doing surgery on you if they never practiced? But in real estate, what does the real estate exam really have to do with being in real estate and selling a house? It really doesn't have anything to do with how to properly negotiate in the crazy market that we're in right now, right? We have to learn that through School of Hard Knocks. So why is it that we get a real estate license and we just want to go out and get a listing and we just want to go out and show a property, but we don't know how to really negotiate in our client's best interest? So wouldn't it make sense for us to really get to know our market, and not just really know our market, but wouldn't it make sense that we dive in and learn the intricacies of how to do a listing appointment uh, at a higher level than an average agent, right? Wouldn't it make sense to learn how to properly narrow down our buyers to 3 to 5 properties that are going to be best fit for them, and teach them that you don't have to look at 60 properties? That is not what this is about. Let's process of eliminate, because most of these homes are probably not going to be fitting your expectations. So let's talk about what your expectations are, and let's zero in on what those expectations are, and take the top of the top, right? But no, we just go out, we hit the door running, and we usually don't really put a lot into what our training is involved. So we really don't really know our market, which brings me to the next phase of knowing your market and being the solution. What does that mean to know your market? Well, I'm going to tell you what that means to know your market. I'm just going to stop sharing for real quick. So we have increments that most buyers are really viewing homes online and paying attention. And quite frankly, you might not like when I say this, but it is the honest to God's truth. The buyers that we are working with probably know the market better than you as the agent. Yes, I said that. I'm sorry, but hear me out. When buyers are online looking, they're looking very specifically for their need. When a buyer's pre-approved, or when they have that preset number in their head because they used a mortgage calculator, right? They have an idea of what price point they want to stay within. So you have a Zillow lead come in, or you're talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, I'm good to 350,000. That's what I'm looking for." So think like a buyer. They're at 350,000 and they're looking probably between 300 and 350, maybe 375-ish, right? But most buyers are looking in $50,000 increments. Now, if we know that, we can really dive in and get to know our market really, really well. So what I want to show you here is a way for you to be able to really hone in and get to really know your market dynamic so that you have a great understanding of what your market is. Because here's the thing, when we get really excited about something, so just think about this for a second. You go and have an amazing experience at a new restaurant and you tell everybody about it. And oh my God, the steak was just so juicy and the baked potato, oh, it was the best baked potato I've ever had. You can't wait to tell people how great of an experience you've had. So when we get to learn our market and know our market, oh my gosh, I got to tell everybody. And that is really what it's going to take to get that confidence that we're going to be like, oh my God, we just can't keep our mouth shut. We got to go tell everybody what's happening with the market. So I want you, this is going to be like a whoop to your eyes, but just hear me out and just, I'll break this down for you in very simple terms. So we were talking about $50,000 increments in the market. So just think about your market right now and, think about what price range are most of your buyers probably in. And we're just going to go across one of these graphs here, okay? So let's just say, for example, you have a buyer or a seller that's 250 to 300,000, okay? So just picture yourself, and I'm just going to take this from a listing perspective because this is so powerful to go over with your sellers. And folks, I'm doing this, that I am getting somewhere when we're talking about building our dashboard, or yes, when we're building our database. I'm really encouraging confidence in your market. And this market report is called Real Market Reports, is the company that I pulled the snapshot from. Folks, this is the best market report you will ever explain to your sellers and buyers to be able to know how to write a proper offer. So again, we're going to go back to 250,000 to 300,000. And you have a listing appointment that you're getting ready to go on. And you've had a conversation with that seller. They're like, I want to be at 325. That's really my number. And you're like, okay. This is how you are going to get your seller to go, I think I need to be at 250, or I think I need to be at 275, okay? 250 to 300. There's 21 total homes on the market. Average days on market is 104. Well, out of these 21 homes that are on the market in the 250 to 300 price range, average buyers only looking at 3 to 5 homes. Out of these 21, which home most compares to the subject property that you're looking at? And just pull those 3 to 5 homes. And then you're like, okay, maybe cover the prices, maybe black them out or whatever, and just show them to your client and ask them, what do you think this home's worth, right? Would you buy this home? Well, now if we're going to compare your home to this home, right? So if they want to be in the 3 to 350, you can do the exact same thing and go, can you play right? Can you play with the big dogs in that price range? So you're taking the 21 homes that are actively on the market, because this is what's happening right now. This is what is active. This is the competition. This is what you are up against. And your job is to position that seller to be in alignment, to be one of the best priced properties that is going to stand out. Because let's face it, the first showing starts online. After online, to get feet in the door, it's going to have to meet the buyer's expectation that knows the market better than most agents, because they're looking right in this price range. They're not looking all over the map. And if you watched my webinar last week, you're going to remember when I was talking about your sandbox. Folks, when you know your sandbox that well, you can really explain these numbers greatly. So average days on market's 104. Now, this is probably an old market report. So this is just, yes, a snapshot on realmarketreports.com. My job is to make sure that we get feet in the door, right? So your average list price is $272,000. But let's look over here. The average original list price is $291, $283, sold price is $276. So there are price adjustments that are happening within those 104 days. Well, guess what? The closer we are under 276, the less amount of days we're going to be on the market. The closer we are to 291, the closer we're going to be to 104 and over, right? Because 104 is average days on the market. You can have a home that's on the market 300 days, 200 days, 150 days. And then you can have a home that went 2 days, right? So this is just an average. So then when we're looking at total number of solds, there's 14. Oh, I'm sorry, under contract. So there's 14 under contract. So that's what's just recently happened in the market. So pull 2 to 3 properties that are most like your subject property and say, if you were on the market while these ones were, could you have gotten the contract over them? What do these homes have that you have better, right? So we're really setting the stage here. And 40% of the homes that are active are going under contract. So your seller has a 40% chance of that home going under contract. So you better be right in alignment with being able to get feet in the door, okay? So we're just gonna shoot over here real quick and look at how many sold in the last 6 months. 55. 55 homes sold in the last 6 months. So with the average number of homes that have sold in the last 6 months, this is what's happened. This is where buyers were saying, these homes meet my expectations and this is what I was willing to pay for them. And then you have the proof. So with the active, you have what's happening, you have what's happened, and then you have the proof of what buyers were willing to pay for a home. So take 3 to 5 of those. Folks, when you get to really hone in on your market and really understand it, I also like to pull expireds to be able to see how many are expiring in this market, in this price range. Because what this is doing for you is it's showing you kind of where the holes are in the boat. So when we're looking at the total number of inventory, well, holy crap, right? You got 4. There's only 4 on the market, but 7 are closing. Or 7 under contract, 63% chance of getting a contract. Well, I don't know about you, but this is where I want to focus on finding listings, right? So just look at your numbers. And then, some people say, I want to be in the luxury market. Well, look at your chances in your market. So take your zip codes, take your school areas, take whatever it would be, and really focus on a strong market report. And this way, this is what's giving you the confidence to be able to talk about your market and talk about real estate to anybody, right? So the more we know our market, the better we're going to be at having conversations with people. So let's just talk for 2 quick seconds about what scares you more. What scares you more? I'm going to ask you this. Talking to people that you don't know, or not having any business at all? What scares you more? Just think about that for 2 seconds. You know, whenever I had said that I was too worried about, or I had more fear about not having the business than I did picking up the phone. And that was real. I mean, that fear was real. I still don't love picking up the phone. Well, I actually do. But it's been, oh my gosh, since 2008. We're talking 10, 12, 13 years that I've been doing this. It did not come easy. And I screwed up a lot. But I just got to the point where I'm no longer attached to the outcome, and I'm just having fun with the conversations because it's become a science project to me. So when I ask that question, what scares you more, is talking to a stranger, picking up the phone and calling somebody, or not having the business. So only you can answer that. And when you gain the confidence in your market and you gain the confidence about your market, that is where the real excitement starts to come from. So let's just talk about, now that I kind of really shoved the confidence thing down your throat, let's just talk about building your database, okay? I want you to think, and that, yeah, this is going to sound a little odd to you, because you're going to be like, what does a grocery store have to do with real estate and database? Well, when you walk into a grocery store, they have everything that you need, right? Well, I want you to think about your database the exact same way. When you walk into a grocery store, it's very efficiently laid out. The aisles are there, the overhanging signs are there to tell you what is in the aisle. When you have your shopping list of 10 things that you need, you can go into a store that you've never been in before. It'll take you a little bit longer, but you can walk into a store you've never been in before, and you can look up at the signs and know exactly what aisle you need to be in to be efficient with your shopping. Now, sorry, I can't help you if you're the ones that, put extra in the basket than what you really need. So, I did a funny thing whenever I was setting this up, and I said, being efficient in your database. So think about it. You go into a store blind, and it's kind of like going into a store on Good Friday. And it's like a mess. It's like shambles. Everything's everywhere. Going to a Goodwill, right? You go to a Goodwill, you're like, oh my God, I can't even function. Like you have to be in the mode and in the mood to be able to leaf through everything, but at least it's color coded, right? Or they have it like shirts, shorts, pants, right? They have it all sectioned off, but it's still a lot to go through. So our databases are no different. Our databases are like having a bunch of phone numbers and names just scattered everywhere, just like Black Friday, just like Goodwill. Well, if you think about taking those names and those phone numbers and the data, and you start organizing them. So think about the grocery store is completely empty, and you walk in and you have a shopping list. You're like, I got to get these things. And the clerk says, well, yeah, you're going to have to go back in the storage room and all of those unopened boxes that are unmarked and find what you're looking for. Folks, if you have a database or an Excel spreadsheet and you just have names, phone numbers, and email addresses, it's kind of like going back into the stockroom. So I really want you to start thinking business minded. I really want you to start thinking that when you're building your database, you want to build it with intention, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you have that's of any value is your data. So as you're compiling leads, start putting them into groups. And when I say groups, you have a pipeline, right? You have a new lead. You have a lead that you've never spoke to. You have a lead that you've spoke to, but they might have a situation. They may have bad credit. They may be looking for a rental. They may be looking for a lease option. They may be divorcing or going through bankruptcy or going through whatever, right? Or our favorite, just looking, just looking. Well, okay, great, you're just looking, but what are your future plans? Are you a year, 3 years, 5 years out? Like how far out are you, right? So start every conversation you have, start organizing that database based on their situation and building it just like a grocery store. So I wanted to Google, and I said, Google, what's the purpose of a database? And this is what I got. The purpose of a database is to help your business stay organized and keep information easily accessible so that you can use it, not set and forget it, not add it in there and never touch it again. And I love what they add at the end, but it's not the magic solution to all your data. Because yes, you can have data, but reality is you have the data, but what if you're not doing anything with it? If you're not doing anything with it, what use is the data? So I'm hoping that this is ringing some resonance with you, that whenever we said in the beginning about being on purpose, being intentional, this is exactly what we're doing in the regards of being able to build a proper database, to build proper leads, because you don't want this business today. You want it next month. You want it next year. You want it the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? So building that pipeline, no lead is ever a waste of time. So just get that verbiage out of your head. I hear it all the time. People are like, oh my God, these people are just looking and nobody's buying. Well, is there anybody in this world that has never moved? No. Even homeless people move. Everybody moves. So now we've talked about confidence. We've talked about the mindset of building your database, of being efficient and what that looks like. So now let's talk about asking the right questions. This is kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And we're asking these really fun questions. And, you know, when we're thinking about going out and doing what we love and loving what we do, we really need to be intentional with where we're spending our time. If you're going to places that you don't want clients from, you might want to rethink where you're going. And we want to be that investigator. So everything that I've always done, I really always like to call it a science experiment. I'm always collecting data. I'm always trying to gather information and just really be curious. Just curious about what is going on in people's minds. What is happening when the real estate market is rolling? And I don't know why. How do people get their agents? Like, how does that, how do they? So when curious minds have to know, and you're out and about, and you're spending time where you want to spend time, well, what if you would just ask somebody the question, hey, I'm just wondering, so say you're sitting at a restaurant and someone's right beside you, and you say, you know, I'm gathering data for my business. Would you mind if I asked you a question? Who's going to say no? Go, oh my gosh, have you bought or sold a home this year? And they'll be like, yeah, or no, right? Well, when they say yeah, I say, oh my gosh, hasn't the market just been insanely crazy? It has. Tell me, can I just ask you another question? How did you choose your agent? How did you find your agent? I'm just curious, because doesn't it seem like everybody today has a real estate license? It's like the average person knows like 12 real estate agents. I'm just wondering like how you got your real estate agent. Guess what you're gonna get? Ideas, right? On how they found their agent. And you're gonna know exactly what you're up against. Oh yeah, in your own community. And then just go with it. If they haven't bought or sold a home over the last, whenever, well, do you own or do you rent? Oh, we own a home. Let me ask you, can I ask you another question? Do you have a make me sell number? And what I mean by that is, if someone just said, hey, I'll give you this much for your home, would you consider making a move? You will be astounded at how many people say, I paid this for the home. Yeah, 550,000, that'd be my number. Now, ask for the address. Say, hey, I have no idea if I can make this happen. I don't even know if that's like, I don't know where you live. But, just in my research, I love doing this. I love letting people know what a buyer would realistically pay for someone's home. Would you mind me just doing some research and just seeing what your home value is worth? I just love to get the data for you. Folks, this is not rocket science. And this is why I really drove home hard the confidence factor. Because if you don't have the confidence that you can properly present these numbers, it's going to be difficult to have that conversation. Because you're going to be like, oh, I don't know, what if, what if? But when you're confident in the conversation, you're confident in your market, and you're confident about just everything, and you're not attached. This is the key. Don't be attached to the outcome, because when we're attached to the outcome, we have an expectation. And when we have an expectation, that's where we get let down. How do we prevent from doing that? It's not easy. I'm not telling you it's not easy. Or I'm not telling you that this is easy. I'm just giving you ways of getting out of your comfort zone and making something happen for yourself. And we've all seen it, right? We look at other real estate agents in our market and we're like, oh my God, how are they so successful? Well, they're having more conversations than you. That's how. This all comes down to numbers and the people that you are talking to. So in that last slide, I'm like, see PDF. Yes, I have given you a written script so that you can practice while you are out and about, and you can break into conversation wherever you are. And this is what gets really exciting for me, because most of you probably get into real estate because it can really lead to great financial freedom, and you can really plan your days in regards to managing your own time. And then I got to laugh, right? We get into real estate for those reasons. And we're like, oh God, I'm broke. I've got to figure out how I'm going to get leads. And and then when we are busy, everybody's demanding our time. So it's exactly what we didn't think it was, right? So my philosophy is love what you do. Because when you love what you do, you don't ever have to work a day in your life. And you're the person that says, every day's a Saturday, every day's a vacation. Because A, you're confident in your craft. B, you are hanging around people that you love and you're confident in everything that you're doing. And folks, there's nothing better than that. All these people that say, I gotta work hard. BS. You've got to have fun doing what you're doing and attracting the right people. That's what this game is all about. Because if you can attract the right people and work with the right people, this job would be fun. I always said real estate would be great without the people. I wanted to go start selling dog houses because that'd be much more fun, because dogs don't talk back and they're not as expensive, right? That's why I said back in my past, I'm like, can we find a builder that'll build dog houses and we can start selling dog houses? And I actually, so here's a little tip where you can literally, I did it in my website. I said Wine Trail Homes, that was the name of my team back in Virginia. Wine Trail Homes lists its first doghouse. And I had a picture of a doghouse with a little fire hydrant next to it. And the features were, they were drool-proof windows, perfectly positioned right around the corner with the fire hydrant. And I don't know, I just got really fun with like what a dog would love in a doghouse. And we just marketed that and we just had a ton of fun with it. Get creative. And that's the thing with this business. We tend to forget that we own our own business and we can bring to it whatever energy, whatever excitement, whatever creativity we have, to be able to not have to choose who we're working with or have to choose what we're doing with our life. We can really bring so much into our business. And sometimes we just forget to think about that. So with that, let's talk about your next deal being right in front of you. Yes, right in front of you. So we talked about the confidence and just getting all the training that you can possibly get. And folks, the close is just filled with a ton of information to really help you up your game. Okay. So don't just stop at this webinar, or don't just stop at this boot camp. Go look at the other boot camps. Go look at the archives. Go read the blogs, folks. There's great content in there. So yes, we talked about the confidence. We talked about the efficiency of a dashboard and building the database. Now let's get into the meat. And don't forget, I have the PDF for you to be able to ask questions wherever you are. So that's what brings us into your next deals right in front of you. So this really comes down to playing in your sandbox. So think about when you were a child and you had your sandbox in maybe your community or your neighborhood or your school. You knew every kid that was going to pull hair, that was going to steal toys, that was going to spit, that was going to be mean and na. And then you knew the ones that were going to be really nice and play nice with, right? But if you moved sandboxes, you had to learn all of that all over again. And you really didn't know who was in that sandbox. So when we really focus our niche and we focus who it is we want to work with, it really helps us to understand where to focus all of our time. Again, doing what you love and doing more of it. Yes, 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 yes. So where do you go to find the deals that are right in front of you? What do you love to do? And I put a few things up here to just memory jog, but just really think about what it is that you love most to do with your days. What are your hobbies? What do you like talking about? Where do you like hanging out at? And for me, my business name was very strategically named Wine Trail Homes because I was a complete wine snob and I loved hanging out at wineries. So we were Wine Trail Homes, and A, we could write off our wine, and B, we're hanging out with people that also love wine, right? Having conversation, meeting people that are going to be buying, meeting people that will be selling, meeting people that want investment properties around the winery because they love hanging at the winery. Folks, think about what it is you love. And again, you are positioning yourself to build your network of people to do business with people that you like, right? So Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce was huge for me because I have a heart for small businesses. I love, love, love helping other small businesses. And if we're in real estate, guess what? We're bringing new people into the community. And we want to be able to introduce them to our small businesses because that's what keeps the economy going in our communities. So when we're in our community and we're supporting our small business owners and they know us personally, a lot of small business owners know a lot of people. And those a lot of people tend to be buying and selling. So get on the good graces of your business owners in your market. And heck, you can even go and do, so I have business reviews, Yelp reviews, YouTube, Facebook Live. Go do interviews with your small business owners and talk about your favorite meal. Talk about your favorite thing that they sell in the store. Talk about when you first walked in the store with the owner. Interview the owners. Get yourself exposure with the things that you love. If you're a foodie, heck, you can go crazy with the food, right? You could leave Yelp reviews. You can go and interview restaurant owners. Restaurant owners love that stuff, or the managers at the restaurants. Go interview them, and then guess what? On your Facebook page, you can start tagging the businesses, and it's giving you extra exposure. And if you're a foodie, you love it anyway, and you're just telling the world the best food in your community. Sell your community, folks. Have fun with this. I have one of my coaching clients, she is killing it on her Facebook group because she's so entrenched with her children. She's got all moms. And she really doesn't have any competition because moms talk. Moms talk a lot. And they're like, hey, you gotta call Julie. She's the best real estate agent in the area. And she doesn't even have any competition because they call her, she lists, and she sells. So think about Facebook groups that you could be hanging out in. Are you a fitness fanatic? Do you love the gym? Do you love yoga? Find Facebook groups that are local for your community. If there ain't one, start one. It's not that difficult to start a Facebook group and start putting data in there about everything yoga in your community. and start supporting your yoga businesses, especially right now coming out of COVID. So many yoga businesses have closed. So many gyms are hurting right now. So if you're in the fitness industry, my daughter, she got me into boutique. She has her own boutique. And I'm gonna put a shout out, the Salted Lemon. So just Google the Salted Lemon. She's on Instagram. But boutiques, that's a unique niche of people. And the owners are fabulous to talk with because they're so creative. And people that go into boutiques are very creative. So you can go in there, shop around, and just start small talk. And remember, I'm going to go back to I'm gathering some data for my business, and I'm just wondering, have you bought or sold a home this year? That's it. Everybody loves surveys, right? So even when you're calling, cold calling on the phone, if you're geo dialing or well, if you're neighborhood prospecting, hey, I'm doing a survey. Would you mind just letting me know? I'm just that your neighborhood specifically. I'm just wondering like how long people take to sell. How long have you lived there, right? Anything, any survey that you need that's going to break the ice of the conversation. So everything is, hey, I need data for my business, or I'm doing a survey to collect information, to just whatever it is you want to do. Folks, it's easy to break into conversation. So we talk about what dog parks, animals, horse communities, 55 plus communities. I have a client that focuses on 55 plus communities and seniors on downsizing and how to do it. So really fall in love with what it is that you love to do. I'm hoping all of this is making sense to you because it's so exciting to me to really be able to think outside the box and bring some creativity to your mind, because at the end of the day, yes, leads can be ultimately expensive if you're buying them from any lead generator. That's just one leg of business. It's a great leg because it is adding data to your database, and it does take the ingenuity. I didn't say that word very well, did I? It does take that proactiveness to make sure that you're picking up the phone and you're doing what you need to be doing. At the end of the day, when you're looking at creating business, we need to have multiple legs of business. So this is just one piece of building your database that you can get an idea of what maybe you want to be doing to build that database. So let's just talk about a couple more things here. I had mentioned the neighborhood prospecting or the geo dialing, right? You can get cold data, you can get Mojo, RedX, all of those, we all know those. But a lot of us are afraid to make those geo phone calls because we don't know what to say. Well, if we don't know what to say and we get a live person on the phone, are we potentially losing an opportunity? Maybe. And that's usually what prevents us from wanting to make our phone calls, because we're afraid we're going to say the wrong thing, or quite frankly, we just don't know what to say. So folks, I'm giving you the silver bullet of exactly what to say. Hey, I'm doing a survey and I'm just wondering, yes, I'm a real estate agent, but I'm not asking you if you want to buy or sell. I'm just doing a survey and I'm just wondering, do you have an agent that you would go to if you were to buy or sell your home? And the reason I'm asking is it's 2021 and it seems like everybody has their real estate license. How many agents do you know? And see if they can name anybody, because then you're getting to learn your competition. You're getting to learn how many people actually really do know how many agents. You know what you're up against. So folks, back in the beginning when I said know your market, be confident in your market, be the solution. Because when we know the problem, we know the solution. And another great survey is, can you tell me about your last transaction? Because let me retract this. So you make the phone call and you're like, hey, this is Beverly with EXP. I'm just doing a couple of phone calls because I'm trying to get some data for my business. And I'm just wondering, there are so many real estate agents that are out there in the market right now. And I'm just wondering, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your last experience with a real estate agent when you bought your home? That's really getting the skinny, right? Because they may say 2. It was horrible. Tell me about that. Wow, powerful, right? You're going to get people to hang up on you. Absolutely. That's okay. But the ones that you talk to, the information that you're going to get, I always say use stories in your presentations. So they tell you this horrific experience that they had with their agent, and you now have a story to be able to protect your buyers because you don't want this to happen to them, because you knew an agent that did this. Okay. And then maybe survey. If you were going to sell your home, would you try for sell by owner, or would you do you have an agent that you would use? Right? Folks, we are sold to from the time we wake up in the morning to the time we go to bed. Everybody is top of the hand because everybody thinks you're going to sell to them. When you're coming in with the questions, their defenses go down. They're like, oh yeah, I'll help, right? And don't get discouraged if people aren't answering their phone. Don't get discouraged if you get hung up on. Don't get discouraged if people are rude. That's not for you to worry about. All you need is 5 to 10 good conversations. And I promise you, you are going to be building your dashboard very intentionally. Now, how do you get yourself to pick up the phone? How do you get yourself there to do this? Because you could literally go through the phone book and do this, right? They even make phone books now. I have not seen a phone book in a hot minute. I remember like I think every half a year we get like a new phone book in the mailbox, and it was like this thick, right? I don't even know if they make phone books anymore. But again, the geo leads, right? On the circle prospecting that you can get phone numbers from. Folks, here's the thing. It's not fun. I'm not going to lie to you. And it can be scary. And the only reason it's scary is because you feel like a telemarketer, right? You're not a telemarketer. All you're doing is because you're so confident that you want to save them from a horrific experience, because we all know that one agent in your market that probably is not the best agent for a lot of the people in your market, right? And it just gets in your crawl, right? You Google search what came on the market today and you're like, oh my God, how did they get this listing? How did I get this listing? Well, it's your fault because they didn't know that you were open for business, right? You want to talk to as many people in your sandbox as you possibly can. And why I say this is possible, do you know what I call it my BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. My BHAG was I wanted to sell a home on every street in my community. And now, if you're in a big metro area, you might be going, oh my God, she's crazy. Well, break up your metro area. Break it up into communities. Break it up into locations based on school zone, based on whatever community sandbox you want to play in. Because when you do that, you can literally have every single person in that network in your dashboard. So just think about that for 2 seconds. So I'm going to give you a fun lesson that I want you to do. I want you to go into your MLS and pull your zip code, pull your location, that market report we were talking about. I want you to go into your MLS. Look at how many homes have sold in the last day. The last agent I asked that, it was 100 sold yesterday. And their goal for the rest of this year was 10 deals. I said, there's 100 selling every day. You only want 10. What does that mean? Easy peasy. You just got to get to the people and give them data with your confidence. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you got some nuggets from this, and I hope you're excited about your new venture of where you're going to be getting your next deal. Because nobody likes to wake up unemployed, and that is what we do in the real estate industry. Every day we wake up unemployed and we're like, where's our next deal going to come from? It's right there in front of you. You just cannot be afraid to ask for it. So make sure you get the PDF and really, really practice those questions and get confident with your market and get confident with your questions. And folks, the more that you are learning, the more that you're always going to be hearing me say, it's not about them. No, it is about them. I totally got that all wrong. This is 100% about giving to somebody else. This has nothing to do with you. All your job is to collect data, present the data, and let opportunity meet expectation. So if they have an expectation, you have to be able to find that opportunity in the market. That's the only thing that's going to make a transaction happen. And the only way you can realize what their expectation is to ask. No is always no until you ask. So until next week, I really hope this was meaningful for you. So please leave comments. I'm dying to know what your favorite lines were, what your favorite lesson was, and communicate so that we can help take you to another level in your business. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I hope you really enjoyed this.